There's a number that rewires your entire relationship with money. It's not $1 million. It's not even six figures. It's $5,000. And the moment you hit it for the first time, something in your brain breaks in the best possible way. Let me tell you about Sarah, 27 years old, barista, living paycheck to paycheck, and the 47 days that completely shattered everything she thought she knew about wealth. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what I'm about to show you isn't just a story. It's a psychological blueprint that separates people who stay broke from people who build real wealth. Let's dive in. Here's what nobody tells you about being broke. It's not just about the money. It's about what poverty does to your brain. When Sarah looked at her bank account in January 2024, she saw $247. But that's not what her brain saw. Her brain saw 3 days until rent is due and I'm $600 short. Again. And here's the thing about financial stress. It literally shrinks your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term thinking, planning, and self-control. Princeton researchers found that financial stress reduces cognitive capacity by 13 IQ points. That's a difference between average intelligence and borderline disability. So when people say poor people make bad decisions, they are half right. Poor people make bad decisions because poverty forces your brain into survival mode. Sarah wasn't stupid. She was trapped in a neurological cage built by scarcity. Every decision was, can I afford this right now? Never, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years? Because when you're broke, there is no 5 years from now. There's only today. And today, you need to eat. That's a broke brain. And Sarah had been living in it for 27 years. February 3rd, 2024. Sarah was closing the coffee shop at 11 p.m. when her car broke down in the parking lot. The mechanic quoted her $800 for repairs. She had $180 in her account. Most people in this situation do one of three things: put it on a credit card, borrow from family, or just give up and cry in their broken down car. Sarah did all three. But while she was sitting there at midnight, crying, scrolling through her phone looking for someone to borrow money from, she saw a video. How I made my first $1,000 online in 30 days. She almost scrolled past it. Almost. But something made her stop. Not because she believed she could make $1,000, but because the person in the video looked just like her. Normal. Broke. Desperate. And that's when Sarah asked herself a question that changed everything. What if I stopped trying to survive and started trying to escape? She didn't have $800 for the car, but she had something more valuable. She had time. Day 1. Sarah set a goal that seemed insane to her broke brain. Make $5,000 in 90 days. Not because $5,000 would solve all her problems, but because $5,000 was a number her brain could actually believe in. $1 million? Fantasy. 6 figures? Impossible. But $5,000, that was maybe, possibly, just crazy enough to try. So she picked a skill: social media management. Small businesses needed it. She could learn it for free, and she could do it from her phone. Day 3. She spent 6 hours watching YouTube tutorials on Instagram growth strategies. Took notes on everything. Downloaded every free template she could find. Day 5. She created a simple offer. I'll manage your Instagram for 30 days, $300. Her hands were shaking when she typed it. $300? Who was SHE to charge $300? She didn't even have a portfolio. But then she remembered something that video said. You're not charging for your experience. You're charging for their result. Day 7. She reached out to 50 small businesses in her town. Coffee shops, boutiques, gyms, real estate agents. 4 to 6 ignored her. 3 said maybe later. 1 said yes. 1. Her first client, a local yoga studio owned by a woman named Michelle who was too busy teaching classes to post on Instagram. $300 for 30 days of work. Sarah cried. Again. But this time, not from despair, from possibility. Day 15. She was posting 3 times a day for the yoga studio. Creating graphics on Canva, writing captions, engaging with followers. It took her about 2 hours a day. Michelle's follower count went from 340 to 890 in 2 weeks. and 3 new students joined because they found her on Instagram. Michelle was ecstatic. But Sarah? She was learning something even more valuable than the $300. She was learning that she could create value, not just trade hours for minimum wage. Actually build something people would pay for. That belief, that tiny spark of possibility, that was the first crack in her broke brain. Day 16, Michelle referred her to another business owner, a boutique that sold handmade jewelry. $350 for the same service. Sarah now had 2 clients, $650 total, and a wait list of 1. Day 20, she raised her prices to $400 per client, not because she suddenly got better, but because she realized something. The business owners didn't care about her cost. They cared about their result. If Sarah could bring them 5 new customers worth $500 each, paying her $400 was a no-brainer. She wasn't selling her time anymore. She was selling outcomes. That's the second shift. The broke brain sells time. The wealth brain sells results. Day 25, 4 clients now, $1,600 per month in revenue. She was still working at the coffee shop, but something had changed. She stopped saying, "I can't afford it," and started asking, "How can I afford it?" Sounds like a small thing? It's not. It's everything. The broke brain sees closed doors. The wealth brain sees locked doors and starts looking for keys. Day 30, she opened her bank account. $1,847. More money than she'd ever saved in her entire life. And she'd made it in 1 month while working her regular job. But here's what really mattered. For the first time since she was a teenager, she wasn't scared to check her balance. Day 31, Sarah did something crazy. She quit the coffee shop. Her mom thought she lost her mind. Her friend said she was being irresponsible. But Sarah had done the math. Coffee shop, $1,800 per month, 160 hours of work. Social media clients, $1,600 per month, 40 hours of work. She didn't need to match the coffee shop income. She needed to replace it. Day 35, she took the extra 120 hours per week and went all in. Reached out to 200 businesses. Created free sample content. Offered 7-day trials. The rejections hurt less now, because she knew the math. If 5% said yes, that's 10 new clients. Day 40, 8 clients. $3,200 per month. She'd already doubled her coffee shop income. But more than that, she was sleeping better. Her anxiety was gone. She smiled more. Because here's what happens when you go from surviving to building. Your brain stops running on cortisol and starts running on dopamine. The stress hormone gets replaced by the achievement hormone. You're not in fight or flight anymore. You're in create mode. Day 47. Sarah checked her bank account. $5,127. She stared at that number for 10 minutes. Just stared. Then she started crying. Again. But this time it was different. These weren't tears of fear or relief or even joy. They were tears of identity shift. Because in that moment, Sarah wasn't a broke barista anymore. She was someone who could build wealth. Here's what neuroscience tells us about that $5,000 milestone. When you earn your first significant chunk of money, not from a job, but from something you built, 3 things happen in your brain. Number 1, your reticular activating system recalibrates. That's a part of your brain that filters what you notice. When you're broke, you notice threats, bills, prices, what you can't afford. But once you hit $5,000 you created, your RAS starts noticing opportunities instead. Sarah started seeing potential clients everywhere. Business owners who needed help, problems she could solve, money she could make. Same world, different brain. Number TWO, your relationship with risk transforms. Before $5,000, risk feels like danger. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? After $5,000, risk feels like experimentation. What if this works? What else could I try? Sarah started testing new services. Video editing, email marketing, content strategy. Some failed, some worked. But she wasn't afraid anymore, because she'd proven to herself, I can build my way out of problems. Number 3, your money identity changes. This is the big one. Before $5,000, Sarah's identity was, I'm broke. I'm bad with money. Wealth isn't for people like me. After $5,000, her identity became, I'm someone who creates value. I'm someone who solves problems. I'm someone who builds. And here's the thing about identity. Your actions always match your identity. Broke identity, broke actions. Builder identity, building actions. The money didn't change Sarah's brain. The process of earning it did. 6 months after hitting $5,000, Sarah was making $12,000 per month. 1 year later, $28,000 per month. She hired a team, systemized her process, created a course teaching other people her method. But when I asked her what was a turning point, she didn't say the money. She said, the moment I stopped seeing myself as broke and started seeing myself as building. That shift happened at $5,000. Not because $5,000 is life-changing money. It's not. But because $5,000 is proof. Proof that you can create value. Proof that people will pay you. Proof that you're not stuck. And once your brain has proof, everything changes. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck calls this the shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Fixed mindset. I am who I am. My circumstances define me. Growth mindset. I can become whoever I choose through effort and learning. The broke brain is a fixed mindset brain. The $5,000 milestone, that's the moment your brain switches to growth mode. Harvard economist Sendhil Mullainathan found that once people escape immediate scarcity, once they have a financial buffer, their cognitive function returns to normal. They start thinking long-term again, making better decisions, seeing opportunities. $5,000 is that buffer. It's not enough to retire, but it's enough to breathe. And once you can breathe, you can think. And once you can think, you can build. So here's why I told you Sarah's story. Because right now, someone watching this is stuck in the broke brain. You're working hard, doing everything right. But you're still struggling, and you're starting to believe that wealth just isn't for you. But here's the truth. It's not about working harder. It's about giving your brain proof that another way is possible. And that proof comes from hitting $5,000 that you created. Not from a job, not from a loan, not from luck, from value you built and sold. Because once you do that once, you know you can do it again. And again, and again. The first $5,000 isn't about the money. It's about the identity. It's about becoming someone who builds instead of someone who survives. So here's what I want you to do. Stop trying to make $1 million. Stop obsessing over 6 figures. Set ONE goal. Make your first $5,000 from something you built. A service, a product, a skill, anything that creates value for someone else. Give yourself 90 days, not to get rich, just to hit $5,000. Because that $5,000, that's a number that rewires your brain. That's a number that proves you're not stuck. That's a number that changes everything. Now, if you want to see exactly how Sarah built her social media business, her outreach scripts, her pricing strategy, her client management system, I break it all down on this channel. So subscribe right now. Turn on notifications. Because every single week, I'm posting the exact blueprints regular people are using to hit their first $5,000. And here's what I want you to do in the comments. Tell me what skill you're going to use to build your first $5,000. Say it publicly. Make it real. Because someone watching this right now is going to hit $5,000 in the next 90 days. Is that person you? Your 90 days start today. Let's rewire your brain together. I'll see you in the next video. Don't just watch. Build. Subscribe. Comment your $5,000 plan. And let's change your relationship with money forever. Starting right now.